Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. I am Annie Meehan, a keynote speaker and a coach who's written 9 books, but love to use my spoken and written word to encourage people to seek more hope, health, and happiness in their lives in all 7 areas of the scope of health. I come to you usually weekly, though it's been a few weeks. I was traveling a lot in October, speaking all over the country, but I'd love to be with you weekly on my H3TV talk show, where we talk about how do you navigate disruption with hope, health, and happiness. This show is live, but of course you can watch it later. But if you're watching it live, please don't hesitate to ask questions, leave a comment, say hello. We always appreciate knowing who's listening to us and where you're listening from. Today, my guest is Brea. Hey, Brea, good to see you.
Hello. Hello.
Good
So
to
glad to be here.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. I'm so excited. Brea is a friend and a coach. I got to know her through Kingdom Builders Academy, where I am studying to get a bachelor's of arts in ministry right now, and just a great group of people helping other people and using encouragement, right?
Yes, yes.
So tell us about you. Who are you? Where do you live? And what do you do?
So I'm an integrative health practitioner, and I'll kind of get into that story of how I got there. But fun fact, Mrs. United States 2021, that's my 15 minutes of fame. I've tried to stretch out to 20 minutes of fame. Business coach, integrative health practitioner, personal trainer, group fitness instructor, Amazon #1 bestseller, all the things, dance teacher, all the things that I wanted to do growing up. I decided just to do them all.
Why not, right? And every day, what else? What else can I do? Plus, your greatest title of all time, she's a mom. And we know how much we love moms around here. So, Brea, today we're just going to talk about disruption. What I realize is everybody faces disruption professionally, personally, literally in their lives. So, when you think of that word disruption or storm, what comes to mind to you?
Hmm. I think being thrown off path is really, we're on a set and narrow path, and then something comes to disrupt that path, and it throws us off, and then we have to get our footing back. We have to find that path back. Sometimes we don't even know where the path is.
Yeah, I love that. And even like you started by saying, I did all the things, or I'm doing all the things, is like a lot of us get vision of like, I got a plan and I got things I got to do. And then that happens exactly, the detours in our path. So, do you have a professional or personal disruption that you've faced in your life that you'd be willing to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head. When it comes to health, for me, that was my disruption, which people are like, wait, you're an integrative health practitioner. So I guess fast forward, long story short, I was doing it all like we talked about. I was running a personal training studio full time. I was going to school full time. I was bouncing back after helping my dad with his untimely death with cancer and helping my mom with that. I did 20 different fitness competitions. I even had like a social life. Like, it was great. And I was doing it all until it all fell apart. So it was just this really hot day here in North Carolina. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I had just gotten done with my afternoon shift at work, at my studio. And I was sitting in my car, and it took me a little bit more than a lot of effort to get out of the car. And I got out of the car, and I remember looking up at the steps to my second story apartment, and I was like, I can't get up these steps. Like, I physically cannot get up these steps. But not only was I physically exhausted, I was emotionally exhausted. And I'm sure most of you have felt that at some point in time as well. But I hated the person I saw in the mirror. So physically, I had gained 30 pounds in less than 3 months, which, okay, if you're eating Chips Ahoy and Oreos on the couch, but I was doing all of the right things. I was still in the gym. I was eating low carb. I was not eating sugar. I was working out 6 days a week, cardio and weights. I owned a gym. And I think for me, like, yes, I hated the person that I saw in the mirror, but I hated myself inside and out because I felt like an imposter. I'm telling all of these women, you should work out, you should lift weights, you should eat more vegetables. And I'm doing all of these things, but I'm being completely hypocritical because the scale goes up and up and up. And you probably see me now as, like I mentioned, Mrs. United States, and I'm so happy and healthy and fit. And yes, that's all true. But that disruption came, that health struggle came and really took me off course. And a quote that's always stuck with me that's really just coming to mind right now is not all storms come to destroy you, some come to clear your path. And that led me to my path to become an
I
integrative
like
health
that.
practitioner.
Not all storms come to destroy you. Some come to clear your path. I really like that, Brea, because I've had so many conversations with people lately that feel like they've lost friendships and their relationships have changed for whatever reason. And they're like, these people, I thought they'd always be there, and now they're gone. So just that clearing the path, that's a great quote for today. So when you got to that point, I think it's such a good visual to imagine you in front of your building, looking up and going, I don't even know if I can physically, emotionally, mentally climb the stairs. Like the stairs are such a good visual, right? So you're at this point, which can feel like great darkness or overwhelmed. I'm curious about, how did you move forward and find hope in this moment of great despair, really great disruption and despair of like, I give up, I'm depleted. How did you stay hopeful and put one foot in front of the other and keep going?
Yeah, it was tough. I'm not even gonna lie. And again, we all have our health struggles, and struggles in life and storms. But went to a bunch of different doctors, and my problem, and I think doctors have our best interests at heart. I'm not against doctors. I think unfortunately, most of the time it's a broken system. It's not a doctor. I mean, most people go in for a drug and a diagnosis. And so what's a doctor going to give you in the maybe 5 minutes they get with you? A drug and a diagnosis, because that's what most people want. What are they going to study? Drugs and diagnoses. Again, I do believe doctors are there to help. But for me, it was, well, your blood work looks fine. Well, you're not sick enough. Just eat a little bit less and work out more. I'm like, I'm starving. I'm absolutely starving. I'm working out 6 days a week. It's my job. So I tried a bunch of different doctors, tried a bunch of different things. I was, reverse dieting. Maybe it's something with my metabolism. What's going on? And I guess fast forward or rewind a little bit too. I had dealt with chronic pain my entire life and was given lots of medications, and then side effects for that medication led me to other medication and chronic pain and gut issues and infertility, thyroid adrenal hormone issues. I was dealing with all of this stuff too, and it's physically manifesting in my body. So I knew something wasn't right for as healthy as I was trying to be, as all the actions that I was taking. But what I didn't know is your body hasn't failed you. So our bodies aren't broken. They're trying to tell us something. God created our bodies to heal. We just have to know how to listen. And that's where one test truly changed my life. Functional Medicine Labs, that's what I do. And the reason is that everything takes a back burner to stress. So when your body's stressed, aka when you're in fight or flight, your immune system takes a back burner, your digestion takes a back burner, your hormones take a back burner, and your ability to rest and recover all down regulates in order for your body to produce cortisol, and which is the inflammation hormone. So that's why that scale kept going up and up and up and up. So how to fix it? Again, identify the problem. What's in your body that shouldn't be, and what's not in your body that should be. So what are your specific toxicities, your specific deficiencies? That's what I wasn't looking for, because my blood work was fine, and blood work is great. It's just a piece of that puzzle though. So for me, running a hair tissue mineral analysis, just a simple at-home snip of hair, was a game changer. I could see those mineral levels. I could see how burned out my body was. And I also saw that I had toxic metals going all throughout my body, which also led me to gut testing. But that heavy metal toxicity lab really changed it for me, because I was just completely burnt out and dealing with loads of toxicities.
Yeah. So that was a great detailed answer. I appreciate that. Two things you said that kind of make me laugh, not laugh, but I remember when I was 26 and I was pregnant with my daughter, and I went to the doctor and I said, my body is so weird. I told this doctor, I said, first of all, I'm crying all the time, and I'm not really sad. I'm just super hormonal. And second of all, like I get up and I'm like, I have to have peas. I have to have steak. I have to have, and these weird foods and all. And I knew it. And he said, oh, your body's always talking to you. It's just that most people don't slow down and listen. And he said, of course you're emotional. He said, we assume when we want to get pregnant, we'll get pregnant. When we want to have a baby, we'll have a baby. We'll have a healthy baby. And he said, every birth given is a complete miracle. And he was just this beautiful, gentle, tall doctor who was like so kind. And he was like, people assume having a baby's easy. It's miraculous. Every baby's a miracle. And he said, your body's always talking to you. It's just that when you're pregnant, you're listening a little more, you're slowing down a little more, hopefully, and you feel the kick and you hear your body crave the iron, crave steak or peas or whatever you need. So that's one thing you made me think about when you said you listened to your body, or you started to listen. The second thing is that, and I mentioned this before, I wasn't going to go there, but when you say drugs and diagnosis, when I go to the doctor, I'm not on any medication. I always say, I don't want a pill. I have some things going on in my life, but I do not want medication. I believe in movement. I believe in a lot of massage, whatever it is. But when I occasionally watch TV and the only commercials right now are political or prescription, they're both killing me. Like I get sick to my stomach, so I have to turn it off again. But I see people dancing because they're on drugs. I'm like, no, please don't do that. So we were talking about hope though, in the midst of that facing, and I kind of want to shift to what did you do? It sounds like you did a hair treatment, but what were like if you can bite it into 3 bites, and somebody's listening right now and they're burnt out, Brea. They are physically, emotionally, mentally fatigued and exhausted. What were 3 things you did to care for your health that you could encourage them to do if they're listening right now and they're just like, I got nothing. I can't climb my own dang stairs. How can you encourage them? What were some things you did or you could give them?
Yeah, my biggest piece of encouragement, again, is that hope that your body has not failed you. It is trying to tell you something. It is not broken. God truly did create our bodies to heal. And the more science that I learn, the more faith I have, which is crazy because you would think it would be the other way. But I'm like, there's no way this could have happened by chance. All of the checks and balances in our body. So my biggest takeaways would be to know exactly what's in your body, what should be, that's probably not, and what shouldn't be that probably is. So instead of just these like Google gurus, oh, you should try keto, you should try, intermittent fasting, you should try CrossFit. And not that any of these things are necessarily bad, but are they right for you and your body? Each body type, there's different body types: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, Ayurvedic medicine, mesomorph, ectomorph, and endomorph, as more people know them commonly. So certain body types do better higher carb, lower fat. Certain body types do better with fasted workouts and not. So it's knowing exactly what you need for right now, where your body is. And just because you're a certain body type, if your body is under tremendous stress, sometimes we need to lean into that. Carbs and calories combat cortisol. So for me personally, I was on a super low carb diet and my body was beyond stressed out and I was just pushing too hard. So a lot of the times we have a tendency to add more. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me add this. Let me add more exercise. Let me start doing sprints. I'm going to start doing sprints. I should lift heavier weight. When really what we need to do is listen to our body and take things away. So
do you have, Brea, like, I'm just looking for more like, is there 3 things you do every morning or every evening? Simple things that somebody listening, and they can certainly get all this additional information from you later, but just what are some habits if someone's really feeling burnt out and they're listening? Like, is there anything simple that they could just implement today to just kind of take that one step forward in their health? What would you suggest to them?
Yeah. Some of the first things I recommend is make sure that you're drinking enough water. So half of your body ounces half of your weight in body ounces every single day. So if I'm 200 pounds, at least 100 ounces of water every single day. Get outside, get some sunshine, get some vitamin D, and make sure you're taking a functional medicine multivitamin. Those are the top 3 easiest things you can do to start right now, wherever you are, whatever your body type is.
And Brea, can you later, after we get done speaking, maybe give a link to that functional medicine vitamin? Like that's a great tip, or the other resources you were talking about, the hair, if you want to share a link to how people do that, that would be great. I just want people to have that so simple. Like, let's just start with water. And as silly as it seems, water can refill where we are so depleted, right? And it's just that first step, and a little bit of movement, a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of fresh air, beautiful ideas. How about happiness? What I know is that when I'm burnt out, when I'm in the midst of a storm, I can really lose my joy. I can lose my happiness, my playfulness. So where did you and how do you today find humor and happiness in the midst of those disruptions, those detours, those storms in life? Where do you go to seek it, or where do you find it in your life?
So the antidote for stress is gratitude. So for me, it's super important to get grounded with God with my morning routine every single morning and fill up my cup. That way I've got enough to pour out to my 1-year-old that's all over the place, and all of the people, clients and friends and family members that all need a little bit of something from me that I'm more than happy to give, but I need to make sure that my cup's filled up, and then ending my day with gratitude. Just reflecting on, little blessings every single day, whether it's, a parking place up front. Sometimes it's just my kid actually making it down for 2 naps. Like if 2 naps happen, like, amen, bless God. And when I can, I don't always do anything to get better about it. I'll do it mentally laying in bed as I go to sleep, which is a great tip to help you sleep, because the devil doesn't want you to, be grateful. So you're going to go to sleep really fast. So if you're having trouble sleeping, practice gratitude. but also journaling is really beneficial as well, just to look back on all of those things.
Beautiful. I love that. Is there something that you've learned many years down the road or a few years down the road that you look back to that woman working out 6 days a week, not eating carbs, running a gym, being a personal trainer, doing all the things that you would give her for wisdom? What do you wish you could have said to the pre-Brea for what the wisdom that you have today?
Give yourself grace. And again, your body's not broken. I know there was, again, it's trying to heal. You just need to know how to listen to it. And for me, I couldn't get anything done because all of this noise was going on in my head. What's wrong with you? Maybe you have cancer too. Maybe you've got this. Maybe you have this. What happens if this, and all of this noise? I couldn't get anything done because all of this is going on. So yeah, just knowing that you can heal.
Knowing you can heal. I love that. Brea, do you have a success story of someone you worked with and when you met them, they were like, here's the deal. You probably can't help me. Nobody can help me. I give up, right? Like I've tried it all, or, owning a gym myself. Like you hear those stories of like, I've always been overweight. I don't have energy. My whole family's this way. So do you have a story of someone that was just full of stories, excuses, and truths that you were able to help work into a new story for their life and a new healing? A success story you want to share with us?
Yes. And going through my mental files right now. I have a client, Cassandra, and she's actually a good friend of mine. We got connected through pageantry, but also got even closer going through her health journey because it was so similar to mine. I mean, she wasn't morbidly obese or anything like that. And I have worked with clients like that. They're like, oh my gosh, you changed my life. I didn't think that I could ever have the energy to get, play with my kid and ride the rides at a local amusement park. Like that was a game changer. That's what got me started in the health and wellness field. But for Cassandra, it was, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm not eating that bad. It's not like I'm, again, same as my story. It's not that bad. I don't understand what's wrong. And I'm just miserable. And I'm so cranky all the time because I'm not confident. And I hate the woman I see in the mirror. And she was a grandma and recently had well, not recently, but then had younger twins. And just working through that. And she said that she was able to put on her skinny jeans from where she first met her husband. And not only did she they fit, but they were a little bit loose. And she sent me a picture of her jumping up in the air with her skinny jeans. And it just felt so great to know that all that she does, again, seeing kind of the outside perspective and all the people that she pours out to in her business and her life were also affected by her filling up her own cup and taking care of herself.
Yeah. One thing you said, Brea, that I really love, and I probably can't say enough, and I know I irritate people by saying it, but I agree with you 100%, is sometimes people say, well, Annie, I'm not a morning person. Annie, I'm not really into morning. And what you said, which I cannot say enough to listeners, is it has to start in the morning. Even if you're not a morning person, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, you have to do something for yourself, because the second you get out of bed or the second you open up the phone or turn on something, somebody needs something, whether it's a spouse or a child or a coworker or a company or whatever it is. And so I love that you remind people that morning routine, that setting the base, that filling your own cup first so that you can pour out and serve other people. So important to do. Is there any other wisdom, like that's what I was going to ask you. Is there some sort of wisdom that you have gained over the last 5 or 10 years that really was a new information to you that you want the world to know through your own studies, through your own experience of working with clients? What are the aha moments that you went, I didn't know that. I assumed this, right? I mean, I have assumption moments every day where I'm learning something that like, oh, I didn't know that, or wow, that makes sense. So is there any one of those you want to share or something?
Okay, I'm going to go nerd mode, so go with me on this.
Okay.
So one of the biggest things for me was, again, I was dealing with tons of thyroid adrenal hormone issues, endometriosis, PCOS, like all of the things that led to infertility for years and years and years. And so, yes, I totally resonated with all babies are a miracle. And I think we forget what a miracle they are. But so like I was talking about, everything in our body takes a back burner to stress. So the way that it looks, it's called the pregnenolone steal. And the same precursors that go over to producing estrogen or excuse me, go over to producing progesterone, also go over to producing cortisol or inflammation hormone. So when our body's in a stressed out state, when it's in fight or flight, all of the precursors that go over to producing progesterone go over to producing cortisol. Therefore, our progesterone is downregulated. Now, progesterone is like the mother hormone. So it controls your estrogen and your testosterone. So many women have issues with estrogen and testosterone, not because their estrogen and testosterone is off, but because that progesterone is off, throwing off those ratios, giving us symptoms of estrogen dominance. So for me, I was like, what's, my estrogen? So my estrogen, it's my estrogen. But it actually wasn't. It was actually the progesterone in ratio to the estrogen. And when I was doing all of my blood work that was fine, we weren't able to track where I was in my cycle. So yeah, it looked fine for a certain period of time in my cycle, but it didn't match up where I was actually in my cycle. So that was a game changer for me, just being able to see more of that complete picture by digging deeper. And again, that my body wasn't broken. I just wasn't getting all of the information and getting it in the correct timeline.
Okay. Sounds good. I want to ask you a couple more things. If somebody listening is struggling with inflammation in their body, is there 3 foods you would recommend that help with anti-inflammation? So I've talked to a lot of people that have a lot of inflammation, which is wreaking havoc on all sorts of things. But is there any food that you would say include these 2 or avoid these 2 for inflammation in their body?
Inflammatory seed oils, avoid. And I would say wild caught fish is amazing. Making sure it's wild caught salmon. We are what we eats, and many like farm raised salmon are given like just grains and processed stuff full of like GMOs and all of that stuff. And then we're getting that. So make sure it's wild caught salmon or trout or sardines or mackerel or anchovies. I'm not going to eat any like anchovies or just wild caught salmon. But what I recommend is an omega-3, making sure it's an omega-3. EPAs need to be higher than the DHAs. So functional medicine brand, omega-3 supplementation is huge for inflammation. Again, the wild caught fish, most people aren't going to eat wild caught fish multiple times a week to change that. I would also say, again, make sure that you're drinking enough water, and most likely more water than you're already drinking, half of your weight in ounces per day. And
to avoid
things to avoid, would be the seed oils and artificial sweeteners. Artificial, and of course refined sugars, but I would rather a client have like real sugar than artificial sugar. And ideally, no sugar at all, unless it's like, from fruit or honey or like a local maple syrup or something like that. But, of course, life's going to happen. Eat your birthday cake. I want you to eat your birthday cake. Life's too short not to eat your birthday cake. But I'd much rather you have real sugar, like the white stuff, than anything artificial, because our bodies don't know how to digest that, and it wrecks our gut health, causing even more issues, even more inflammation. So seed oils and artificial sweeteners, colors, flavors, dyes, anything artificial, all the chemicals.
Perfect. I know I'm kind of all over the place, and this is kind of a vulnerable question, so feel free to not answer it if you're not comfortable. But unfortunately, I meet women all the time that want to have babies and really struggle, and either never do or really struggle with fertility. In fact, before I left Minnesota, one of my last clients there was 47, and she really wanted a baby, and we worked together coaching. I'm not a health coach per se, but we worked on just mindset and loving and taking care of our body. And I wondered if you had a word or an encouragement. I know I have a lot of connections struggling with fertility in their life. And if you had a word or encouragement that you could offer them from your own journey or just from clients you've worked with or whatever, if you're comfortable. If you're not, you don't have to. But I just think so many people feel really alone when they can't have a baby. I personally have never experienced that. I had 4 unplanned pregnancies. So pregnancy was not something that was one of my journeys to struggle getting in other ways. But I always want to offer anybody that knows any about that the opportunity to speak to our listeners that struggle with fertility, men and women as couples, and how it affects their relationships, and really could use some encouragement. So if you're comfortable sharing something.
Yes, absolutely. I'm always an open book. And that was my story. 7 years of infertility. So I completely understand that struggle, miscarriage. My heart goes out to you, and I'm so sorry. It's an overwhelming pain. And I know what it feels like for Christmases to come and go, and everybody, oh, when are you going to have kids? When are you going to have kids? When are you going to have kids? And even now, even though we've had a baby, it's still, so when are you ready for the next one? And it hurts. I mean, I don't know what the future holds, but I want to give you hope in that journey, that just keep digging. Your body's not broken. It's trying to tell you something. There's so much you can do. Have somebody look at your hormones from a different lens, not just blood work. Again, if I can be of a resource, I'm here to help. But something that I heard that didn't make sense to me for a long time until I had my baby, my rainbow baby, was I thought of it as my pregnancy journey, my journey to get pregnant, all the things that I was going through, all the things that I was doing. But I never thought of my little guy, Hunter's journey to get here too. And, God created that miracle. And I easy to say now, but I would go through it all again for Hunter, for not just for any baby, but for Hunter specifically. And not that I wouldn't go through it for any baby, but Hunter specifically makes it all worth it. And Hunter's journey to get to me, just the way that God lined that up.
It's beautiful.
I had to put that in account, and just know that there is hope, and I'm praying for you.
Thank you. I love that. Yes, Hunter's journey, your journey, and your husband's journey. People that I talk to about fertility, again, I don't know much about it, so I'm cautious to ever act like I know what I don't know. But how it affects a relationship and how the dynamics of a marriage can be really greatly affected. So I appreciate you saying that. I also really appreciate you, Brea, because again, we gather for the holidays, and the holidays are even more energetic and joy-filled often with children in them. And I know there's lots of people that choose not to have children, but for those trying to and hoping, thank you for reminding the rest of us, not only to be sensitive, to be compassionate with our words, and not always asking people, when are you having another baby? You're having a baby? Why aren't you having a baby? We don't know. And it's a very personal journey for those people going through fertility. So thank you so much for sharing that. Brea, what I know is my audience is going to want to know more about you, going to want to connect from you, going to want to hear from you. Where is the best place for them to connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on social media. You can find me pretty much anywhere at Brea Sharron Fitness. But the resource that I've created is Holistic Health, Wellness, and Weight Loss. It's a free Facebook group. I try and give as much information as I can away for free. My job as an integrative health practitioner is to find exactly your specific toxicities, your specific deficiencies, eliminate those toxicities, replace those deficiencies to get your body back to a state of equilibrium where it can heal itself. So of course there's functional medicine labs. That's where I come in as a coach, but I try over in Holistic Health, Wellness, and Weight Loss group on Facebook to give as much information as I can away for free. You can ask questions there, and we'd love to have you.
Awesome. And I'll have you share a link to that in the comments on all 3 platforms, just to make it easy for people to find it, because that's a lot of words and I can't spell it. So, anyway, what I appreciate you so much for being here, for sharing your heart, for sharing your journey, for sharing your wisdom. Thank you, Brea. Thank you to our listeners. Please remember that you can ask questions, comments, just say hello and tell us where you're from. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate the support and the listeners. Thank you, Brea, for being with me, and I'll see you all next week. Take care.